Yeah.
Yeah, and I like this point you make about this sort of distinction between diversity and inclusion. Now, obviously, diversity, I think you're sort of when we're saying it's more of a numbers type thing, whereas with inclusion, it's actually you have people from different backgrounds and they actually feel part of the organization, and there's a certain corporate culture, and I think that's very important for leaders to be able to make everybody feel included in their organization.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we talked about this off air that I've generally had bosses who don't look like me, but I've been quite lucky that I've never felt that not included in their plans. And I think it's just about being given a fair chance. I mean, what do you think, Gina?
Oh, you know that I absolutely agree with that. So, Dr. Quinetta Robertson is an organizational psychologist, coincidentally, who long ago defined the distinction between diversity and inclusion. So the distinction that she came up with is also the one that I agree with. When we're talking about diversity, we're talking about sort of counting the characteristics of whatever group we're talking about, whether we're talking about race or gender or disability or whatever. We're just kind of saying what's the representation, and that's important because you should have a workforce that is representative of the available workforce in terms of demographics. The inclusion piece of this conversation doesn't get talked about as much, but inclusion is okay, so now you've hired these people who look all these different ways, right? But what are the experiences that they're having every day? And I can tell you from both personal experience and from my consulting experience that people of color and research consistently report a very much less positive experience than those who are in the reference group. So that is just a fact. Why is that? It is because often they are invisible. It's a strange phenomenon, but people of color, let's say we're talking about just the dimension of race, because we can talk about a lot of different
Yeah,
things
sure.
and all the variations
Yeah.
matter. But if let's just take the one, which is race or ethnicity, what people in those groups will report is that they don't even feel, some of us will say they don't even feel seen. So when the opportunity comes up for the promotion, people will actually say, oh, well, I didn't know you were interested. Why didn't you know I was interested? We never discussed it.
Exactly.
Oh, and it's not a question that can be answered. It's just the person never even put you in the category of candidate for the promotion. Or how come it is that in financial services, most of the client-facing jobs that are high revenue generating tend to be underrepresented by people of color? It's because somebody somehow, I don't know if it was conscious or unconscious, said, we don't think our multi-million-dollar clients are going to want people showing up who don't look like them. They have to walk a certain way, talk a certain way, dress a certain way, and look a certain way. So it's what is that experience? And in experience, when you measure the outcomes that would measure inclusion, that would define inclusion, the outcomes are not representation. The outcomes are, what are the ways that you measure success in this organization, whether it's pay, promotion, access to opportunity, access to training and various things that would make you more visible. It is then, what is that experience like? Those are examples of how you would measure inclusion. And of course, it's talking directly to the people in all employees and asking them, what is happening to you on a day-to-day basis, and wishing that the result would be that every employee, regardless of the variation, would say, this is the experience we're having, and not have some employees who say, I'm not having a good experience.